What's up, Internet? Cory Zamier here, collecting with Cory. It's time for the game room tour. Alright guys, so for this game room tour, I wanted to go over the basics of the game room part of my office. If you guys don't know, I also work out of here. This is where I handle all my eBay and Amazon business stuff. As you can see here, I have a whole bunch of shoes for eBay behind me. I'm not going to really go over any of that in this video. This is going to be focusing on strictly my game room stuff, and also I guess some of my board games too, because they are something I have for pleasure rather than for work, just like my games. Alright, now first up, when you walk through the door, if you look to your right, you'll be greeted by my poster wall, which is a weird thing to call a wall. But this is where I decided to just put some posters. At first, I was going to have more shelving over here for the eBay business, but it wasn't really necessary. So let me just go over pretty much all the posters in my room first, and then we'll move on. We got Berserk, the Province of Skyrim poster. This is one of my favorites, the Toe Jam and Earl poster that came with the game, I believe. This is a poster for... I always forget the name of the game. It's like... Is it like Paladin Knight? Paladin something? I don't know. It's a game that's coming out to the Switch, and Nintendo Force sent me that poster. It was really cool. Got my main man Boba Fett. Random anime poster. This is, well, I'm blanking on a lot of names already, and we're just, 5 minutes into the video, not even. Hayate no Gotoku. Hayate the Combat Butler. And, of course, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai poster. Up here we have Super Mario Odyssey, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, I believe, poster. The Chrono Trigger poster that came with the DS game. Yokai Watch poster from a store. And I'm just going to let you see what else we have up there. That random painting is a finger painting that my goddaughter did. I decided to display it in my game room. And we have this is what I end up looking at most in my office, just because this is where I sit. We have my Pokemon poster, my Kobe Bryant poster for NBA Courtside 2, Robotech Battle Cry, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Actually, I haven't played that game, but I did play Curse of the Moon. It was awesome. Final Fantasy, which I played through this year. Amazing game. And let's go up here to right above where I keep all of my shipping boxes. We have a Smash Bros. Poster. I was obsessed with Smash Brothers when I was a kid, when I was in high school. Earthbound and a Battletoads Double Dragon poster, which I just think is a cool poster. A couple Spider-Man posters, Iron Man, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and this one here, which from further away looks like it just says, I love my wife, but in actuality it says, I love it when my wife lets me play video games, which I just thought was funny. Unfortunately, my wife has good enough vision that she could read it from the door, so it never really worked on her. Alright, next up I thought we'd go over my board game collection. Honestly, a lot of these I have not had the chance to play yet. I'm really big into Catan. I have been picking most of these up from thrift stores. Some of them came from garage sales. A few of them I bought online. I would say overall, I've probably spent maybe 40% of what their MSRP would be to obtain them. A lot of them I've obtained for like maybe $5 at a thrift store. or maybe $10 if it was on sale or on clearance at Target or Walmart. And as you would have seen in a recent video, Feudum, that's probably my most expensive one up there, unless I'm missing something. Other highlights up there, I would say Vegas Dice Game. It's actually really, really fun. Big fan of that one. And also Ticket to Ride. I've only played London and New York. New York is especially fun. London's a little bit complicated, or a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. And I would love to have an opportunity to play the expansions for Catan, which I've been collecting. Yeah, let's take a look at my Nintendo Switch games. And on my Instagram, I'm actually going to have some pictures posted somewhat soon, probably before this video even comes up, just showing better what I have, because, you know, you could be trying to see what I have and the video just keeps going. Trying to show the Japanese games because you can't read them, most likely. Mantis Burn Racing, sealed. Got that from Ted. Don't know if I'll ever open it. Kirby Star Allies, surprisingly good for a kiddie game. And down here we got the Pokemon Sword and Shield. Double pack, I guess. This is a weird one. Nippon Marathon. It's like some running game. It's a racing game of some sort. I don't know. I picked it up because, I mean, look at that cover. Which, you know, I'm prone to do. Look at, I picked up Happy Birthdays because of the cover. If it has a cool cover, I want to buy it. Got a few limited run games here that I have yet to open. My thoughts on the limited run stuff and strictly limited, super rare. I think it's really cool. It's unfortunate that the secondary market drives these games ridiculously high eventually, but when you have a sealed copy of Gris, it's hard to complain. I know my friend Ted recently sold an open copy of this for like $200, so I'm holding on to mine for now. Moving on, we have my PSP collection, most of which I have to talk about is the Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 1, 2, and Tactics. 1, oh my god, this is my favorite part of the year so far. In a year that we're having so much go wrong, playing this was the start of everything going right for me. Final Fantasy 2, can't say the same. Really broken system. Really, really kind of dumb. And of course, one of the best games of all time, just ported to the PSP. Wish I had all the extras that go along with these, but these games get super expensive now. Actually, a lot of PSP RPGs get super expensive. I've been on the lookout for the Trails in the Sky game, the other Legend of Heroes games, and they're just kind of ridiculous. As is this Vita game here, Persona 4 Golden. This one's gone up a lot, probably since GameStop no longer has one on their shelf, just like at all times, which I felt like was constant. You can get this at GameStop for like $22. Any GameStop. And now that GameStops are mostly, well, they're not closed. I guess they're open back up right now, but anyway, I'm rambling. I got some import games. We got Berserk. And we have 2 of the Gundam games, Gundam Breaker and Gundam Breaker 2. And moving on to the Xbox collection, the prize of my Xbox collection, the Guy game. And I guess Stubbs the Zombie is worth mentioning. This is a really good game. I have a Let's Play something of it on my channel from way, way back when I was just pointing the camera at the TV. Next up, we have my TurboGrafx 16 collection. I'm actually trying to find some way to get some sort of Turbo Duo so I can actually go after CD games, but it's not likely to happen. Now that stores are opening back up again, my indiscriminate spending on eBay is kind of coming to an end. My PS1 collection, probably my oldest collection as far as games that I had from my childhood, such as, well, I guess we have to go to the Final Fantasy games for that. I believe this is my original copy of Final Fantasy VII. It is not the Masterpiece edition with the error on the back. My original Final Fantasy Tactics, absolutely one of the best games of all time. Got the both the special edition Lunar games. I don't know why I have the Mega Man X series on PS1. I actually am probably going to be getting rid of these sometime soon because I have them on the Switch. At least I'm going to have them on the Switch. I think I have them on the Switch. Did I have them? Yeah, I got them up there. There's no reason to have them on the PS1 and the Switch. Probably my most recent addition, Parasite Eve 2. I picked this up at a thrift store for $8 recently. And probably one of my best deals I've gotten on eBay in a long time. Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. I believe it's missing the manual, but I got this for $80 when it's usually going for $150 plus. So that was a really good deal. If you're noticing a trend, I do tend to go for most of the RPGs. I have a decent amount of them, and I'm trying to get all the RPGs for all the PlayStation systems, which is a tall task when you consider PlayStation 3, PS4, all the PSP games, all the Vita games. That's a ridiculous amount of RPGs, and a lot of them, after the PS2 era, I wager aren't even that great. The Atelier Iris trilogy here. I've only played the first game, but I would highly recommend it if you have the opportunity. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way to play it mobily, which is the main way I play all my games now. Grandia 3, one of the best battle systems in any RPG. Highly recommended. The Shadow Hearts trilogy there, with the last game down here. And my piddly GameCube collection. Bloody Roar Primal Fury. Actually, I'm only missing the Bloody Roar game on Xbox, which I believe is just a port of Primal Fury, for having a complete Bloody Roar collection. Best game down there, my favorite game down there is probably Mario Kart Double Dash, but that one's easily outshined by Mario Kart 8. Then we have my Wii collection, highlighted by probably the Fire Emblem, Radiant Dawn, and the Data East arcade classics. Very expensive games, last time I checked. Yeah, my Wii collection's actually not that bad. My Wii U collection, non-existent. It's just Mario 3D World. And that will only exist in my collection until they finally release it on the Switch. And I always talked about getting this game room ready. Honestly, I just decided to film the room tour today, and the place is still kind of a mess. Like, all this, like, I have an Amazon order half on the table. I've got board games that I'm not sure if I'm keeping that I don't have room for up there. But we're going to move on. We're just going left to right. We have a very, I don't know, I guess I've been picking through here for stuff to sell. This is my Sega Genesis collection. One of the first systems, actually the first system I ever owned as a child. And I guess it's not really a system I have that much respect for nowadays. Mutant League Football, one of my favorites. This was one that we always wanted to rent, and I believe my friend up the street owned it. I don't know if that was for sure, if he just rented it a lot. I am partial to Panic on Funkatron when it comes to the Toe Jam and Earl games. Moving on to Sega CD, which, to be honest, I'm not even sure if my Sega CD works. I don't think I've ever turned it on. I have all the hookups for it, but considering you need like 3 power cords, just not worth it. What am I going to play? NHL 94 on it? I mean, it's the best game of all time, just probably not on the Sega CD. Moving on, we have my Sega Saturn collection. A few of these I got ridiculously cheap back in the day. You can see there that $7.95 price sticker on Guardian Heroes. I actually paid less than that because it was buy one, get 2 free, or buy 2, get 1 free. I can't remember how good the deal was, but it was ridiculously good. As with Shining the Holy Ark, and I fucking took the sticker off for Shining Wisdom, but that was also part of the deal. And a stall, which I think I traded. But I'm really happy with my Sega Saturn collection. I also have some import games, which I just have this because I couldn't get rid of it. I didn't have any way to get rid of Eve, the lost one, on eBay. At the time, it wasn't really going for much. Picked up Grandia for cheap, don't know why. Picked up Suikoden for cheap just because this cover is really cool. Then we have my very small Sega Dreamcast collection. I used to have a lot more games for this. I had all the Marvel vs. Capcoms. But now it's basically some stragglers and Power Stone 2 and Project Justice, which I found at a garage sale for less than $1 in like the first year of me doing this. I have my boxed Game Boy collection, which has most of the Kirby games, with the exception of the Game Boy Advance ones. I think I'm missing something on the Game Boy Advance for Kirby, but got most of them. I think I have all the Pokemon games in the box. I got most of the ones I needed from a garage sale last year when I had stopped recording, unfortunately. And, well, that's just how it worked out. All the Sonic Advance games. Sonic Advance is probably the best Sonic game, in my opinion. Next up, we have my boxed NES collection, which has stopped growing pretty much because I've run out of room. I was picking up boxes for games that I didn't have boxes for the longest time, but now it's basically, I really need to either want the game in the box, as is the case with Darkwing Duck. That's why I have that one, because I really like this game and I had it loose, so I got the box for it. Bucky O'Hare would probably be the next one that I would, pursue a box for. I completed my Dragon Warrior quadrilogy here. I'm missing some maps and manuals, I guess, on a couple of them, but I have them in the box. And like I said, on Instagram, I will try to post pictures so you don't have to keep pausing the video if you're trying to look at specific titles. This was probably one of my best gets. I got this from a Facebook Marketplace deal, and I think I paid maybe $60 or $80 for it, complete, and in really nice shape. This is actually an upgrade from the one I already had, Tengen Tetris. Alright, next up we have my loose NES games, topped off by my boxed Super Nintendo and my boxed top-loading control deck for the NES. Most of these early ones here, up until, I think, Adventures of Lolo, which I actually really dislike this game. I really dislike it. I've played on Let's Play Something, my other channel that I kind of died off. Got the Adventure Island Trilogy. 3D World Runner is actually really fun. That was one of the first games, if not the first game I played for that series. Batman Return of the Joker. One that's getting kind of expensive. Or was expensive, I don't know. I think it might have plateaued. And to be honest, a lot of these, after the first, stack here, I haven't played a lot of them because I was trying to go alphabetically with that series, and that's as far as I got. Athena, I've played randomly and is actually really good. Bomberman, I have yet to play the original Bomberman on the NES. Everybody's played Bubble Bobble, that's a great game. Castlevania, this is the only one that I don't have in the box, so I'm actually looking for that box still too to complete that trilogy. Faria, that one's kind of expensive, and when I got it, it was around a $50 game. Not sure if it's gone up or down. Both of the G.I. Joe games, I think, have some value, and both are pretty good from what I remember. Isolated Warrior, I believe this one I actually picked up. Doesn't have the sticker on it still, does it? No. I believe I picked this up at my thrift store, oddly enough. Very rare to find good, well, valuable NES games at a thrift store. For the Metroid game on NES, I decided to go with the yellow cartridge just because I think it's a lot cooler, much better look. Miracle Piano, I will never actually own this accessory, I'm pretty sure. Power Blade, my label is coming up a little bit. Maybe get it replaced eventually. Rockin' Cats, that's another really good game, an Atlas title from what I remember. There are a few different label variants for Mario Duck Hunt. This one has Nintendo Entertainment System. This one does not. They basically moved it from the middle to the bottom. I'm not sure which one's older. Decided to keep both just because they're a little bit different. Alright, now we're about to get into some of my favorite games on the NES. We got Wampum here. This game, I think you could actually get the box pretty cheap nowadays. Some expensive titles I have yet to play. Uninvited. Another Atlas title here, Widget. Like, this label looks like so weird that it doesn't look like an NES game to me. I have a reproduction Metal Storm that was a gift from Console Kev. Battletoads Double Dragon. This is possibly the best NES game I've ever gotten in a Facebook deal. And we got Felix the Cat, who I got from Bad Graphics Gamers at one of the first Too Many games that I went to. Bucky O'Hare. I'm just missing the box. I have the manual already. Then we have Gargoyle's Quest 2. And the Cryon Conquest. Wow. Conquest. And then for the last two games I have here, Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. And Bomberman 2 with a really cool label. Of course, we got Bucky chilling here. Moving on to my Super Nintendo games. Super Nintendo is kind of a collection I've been shirking. I don't really actively look for Super Nintendo games anymore, for the most part. Actually, I don't really do that for the NES either. But I gotta say, I could be doing better with my Super Nintendo collection. I do have a bunch of, like, finished sets, I would say, like how I have all three of the Donkey Kongs complete in box, the Final Fantasies. I'm missing Final Fight 3, a box for that one, and the game itself. I've never had any interest in owning the other Mega Man X games. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of Mega Man X at all. I like the original much better. Here we have Lufia and Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo, and was for the longest time one of my most wanted games on the Super Nintendo. Here we have my copy of Secret of Mana, which I reluctantly somehow still have. This thing is in like mint condition minus that imperfection right there where it looks like it was cut a little bit with a box cutter. This I got at one of our seasonal flea markets. I paid, I think it was either $2.50 or $3 for it, and is probably one of my best flea market finds of all time. That's one of the only reasons I'm keeping it. I actually don't like Secret of Mana that much. And then for my loose games, I have a loose Earthbound, which I picked up at the Grid. Some more boxed games that I have yet to actually really introduce into my collection, Kirby's Dream Course and Zombies Ain't My Neighbors. I would really like to get a box for this Castlevania 4. Move stuff out of the way. Kirby Superstar. This was a game that, when it first came out, I was constantly trying to rent it, and I guess everybody else in my town was too, because it was never at Blockbuster, and I never got to play it as a kid. And here's probably the oddest thing in my Super Nintendo collection. We have a not-for-resale, demo-only Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Property of Nintendo, store name T. It's hard to read through that. TL something? I don't even know. But pretty decent label on that. Next up, we have one of my favorite collections, but looking at my game room, you wouldn't know it, seeing as it's kind of just shoved in this corner here. My DS collection. Got a few really good games on here. Chrono Trigger being the best way to play it on the DS in my opinion. Picked up some of the Dragon Quest games. Do not have the ones that are over $100. That's unfortunate. I have most of the Final Fantasies on there. Picked up the very mediocre Lufia Curse of the Sinistrals when it first came out, and I think I exercised my right to return that immediately, but I did pick it up for the collection. I have a decent amount of the Pokemon games on the DS. I actually don't have them all. I at least am missing White 2. I know I have the case down here just in case I come across it. And then we have my very small 3DS collection, which has some Dragon Quest games that I've not played on that system, the Fire Emblem games, I think I have all of them there, the Kirby games, and then the rest is basically Pokemon and Yokai Watch games, which I am fortunate enough to have Yokai Watch 3, which, as that game was coming out, was apparent that it was going to be very, very expensive and very, 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 very hard to find. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video game room tour for 2020, the year of chaos. One last thing I have to show you guys is something I actually picked up early this year, right before everything started popping off. We have my original PlayStation 2 store sign of some sort, whatever it's called. Now unfortunately, it's pretty impossible to get it to show up without being blinding on here. Let me actually... There we go, there we go. You just have to lower the brightness in the room, I guess. So, I'm just going to end on that. I'm going to bring it back to me. Like the video. Comment below what you think I could be doing better in this room. One thing to note, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this game room tour now, rather than waiting until everything is perfect, is we're not going to be living here forever. So I'm not going to have this office forever. And I figured I wanted to get this recorded. When someone comes home. Get this recorded and posted before it was too late. You know, I don't know how soon we're going to be moving, how late we're going to be moving. We could be here for another year or two. Who knows? We could be out of here in months before the end of the year. We'll see. But like the video, comment below, subscribe if you're new, and as always, keep it real, Internet. I love you guys.